Greetings, African people. I'm going to start with a story, and hopefully, this will lead to a lesson or a message at the end. I had a confrontation with my landlord recently, and I call it a confrontation. But this was building, shortly after I moved here, he promised me that I would have storage for the things that I don't want to put in my apartment because I was moving from a bigger apartment to a smaller place. And so I needed a place to store my things. And he guaranteed me that I was going to be able to put them at a particular place. When I came here, he changed up the rules on me. This man wanted me to take the place, so he was so wonderful, so sweet, pretty much like every other people in the world who want black people's money and things. They're very nice with you when they want to get that thing from you, but the moment they get it from you, they become like snakes or serpents. So when this man switched the rule upon me, after having had this kind of year, I just didn't want to start any conflict with this person. I remember walking away and just going and sitting down in my closet and just having a cry because I didn't want to fight with him. So I walked away. But when he saw that, his wife was with him that day and she came and she was so sweet about the whole thing because I was saying to the man, that's not what you told me when I came. And now you're switching things around. So this is a mistake we make. Never let people see your vulnerability or your weakness. Never let people see you weak. People don't know how to respond to that. Tears for many people is a sign of weakness. So the man saw this. I had another conversation with him another time, not too sure if I liked the way he was talking to me. And I said to my husband, now look here, this man is making a big mistake because he's thinking that I'm that girl. I'm no longer that girl. But I try to maintain peace. And recently I heard we have a problem with the, the circuit breaker chipping. Somehow there's a problem with some kind of wiring. So it chips, if you try to vacuum, all of a sudden the light from one side of the house goes away. And we called him, not confront, just to tell him about the problem because it occurred before. He usually knows how to fix it. But this time he tried to say, oh, were you using some heavy duty, whatever? And I said, heavy duty what? I gave the phone to my husband. And my husband started talking to him and you could hear him saying to my husband, well, maybe it's what you're using, pretty much trying to blame the faulty wiring of his house on us. And let me tell you something, I went off because the first time and the second time and the third time I let him get away with that nonsense. Now you understand there are a lot of people who come from other places in the world, other people of color, of course, but everybody believes that because, they have a house or because they have a business and we continue to patronize their business, that they have the right to talk to us anyhow. So all of a sudden, I heard him giving attitude to my husband. I said, let me have this phone because I had already warned my husband that the next time this man disrespected me, I was going to give it to him. And so when I took the phone from my husband and I started talking to him and I raised my voice like 10 times higher than his own, he was shocked. He was like, oh, just be calm. I said, I will not be calm. You have been disrespectful towards me, and this is the last time you're going to do it. It's not that type of day. It's not that type of girl. And it's not going to happen today or any other day. So, of course, he backed down. I remember seeing him over the weekend, and he was a completely different person. Oh, almost as if he's scared of me. I don't care what his plans are. All I know is black people, stop letting people push you around. Stop trying to get the impression or give people the impression that you're nice because nice people finish last. Everybody and their mama decide that black people are going to be the ones that they can stomp upon and walk over and wipe their foot on, spit on and kick and thing. And the only person who can stop it is you. Don't let fear. Listen, if you're gonna die, die gracefully. If somebody is gonna come at you in a disgraceful way, then you meet them where they're at. Do you understand that? And this is gonna segue into this story. On the weekend, I saw an article in the paper about Chinese who are doing business in Jamaica. And I think the week before that, I saw another article with some Chinese people that were complaining that they didn't like how Jamaicans treated them. They felt that they were being discriminated and that they're a minority group in Jamaica. And they also said that, they don't like being called Chinese. It's racist. And from my memory, when you said Chinese, you were not trying to be disrespectful. It was patois. It was Jamaicans' way of saying Chinese by saying China, Chinese. Now they have a big problem with it. And in the article that I read today, they're saying that Jamaican people need to accommodate them more and be more inviting of them, and so on and so forth. Now, I have been very critical of Chinese people in Jamaica before, Chinese in general, and I have somehow softened my position on that in the sense that I was thinking Chinese people are rude. You go to patronize their business and they're so disrespectful. And, I changed my position on that in the sense that I'm saying, well, you know what? Maybe Black people should learn something from Chinese people. Maybe we shouldn't expect them to be friendly with us. They are friendly with their own community. They are respectful of their own. They work together as their own. That is a good thing. But having said that, I'm saying that Jamaicans are not interested in staying there in their own country. African people are not interested in staying in their own country anymore and allowing outsiders to come in and push us around. I'm going to be politically correct. Everybody want and their mama want to take Black people and treat them like they're second class citizens, even in their own homes. And while I think it's nice to accommodate, let's keep it real. Chinese people come to Jamaica and they're encouraged to come and invest in our country. And out of many, we're one. There are many people who grew up in Jamaica. Their four parents came from China and they have lived and gone to school with us together, and we all get along very well. But let's face it, Chinese people are a cohesive group, and they try to keep the money in the family. And so many of them are getting special incentive to come to Jamaica now and to do business. So for 5 years, individuals come and they open a shop and they have to pay no taxes. Meanwhile, based on articles that I'm reading, the Black people in Jamaica are closing their business because they cannot keep up with the Chinese. Now, is that China's problem or Chinese people problem? It isn't. The problem is with our own government, who continue to exchange one racist expansionist for the next. Never ever will you ever find or a Black government in our country to put the Jamaican people first. Always another slave master, always another person to take the Black people and rule over them and govern them. And so Black businesses are being closed down because they're not getting the support. The Chinese people in our country are able to pull their resources and buy their goods from China. They're being subsidized by their own government because the Chinese intention and aim is to become world leaders. And so the greedy people from the Western and European countries thought that they were trying to make a big buck spending a quarter, until they found out that they got duped by the Chinese people. Well, not duped. That's kind of harsh. That Chinese people just sat in the room like a chameleon and made it seem like they were, the kind of people who you could play games with. Meantime, they were strategically deciding how they're going to go around the world and gain what is theirs. Do I have a problem with that? No, I don't. Black people could learn something from that. But what I'm trying to say here is that Jamaicans need to stand up and make sure that whatever privileges Chinese people have in their own country, they should demand that. It's not Chinese people who put the Jamaican government in power. It's the Jamaican people who put them in power. And it's time for Black people to understand that if you don't stand up against injustice and racism and prejudice and discrimination in all forms, it will never go away. And it's not about just going out on the road 9 days and demonstrating like why our brothers do it, across the border. We're talking about using your money as a weapon, because that's what has happened to Black people. Money have been used against us as a weapon. It prevents us from doing the things, when the lack thereof prevents us from doing the things that we need to do to become powerful. But we have to stop looking at what is in front of us. We have to get together as a people and understand that on your own, you will not be able to do it. Collectively, this is what's destroying our people in Africa and in Jamaica. This is what's dividing us. Our inability to see each other as one. Our inability to see that when you come together as a collective, you're going to be able to do amazing things. So while I might still be a bit critical of Chinese people in a way that they're now coming around to make it seem like they're victims, everybody is a victim at the expense of African people, when the true persons who have been more demoralized and abused and taken advantage of have always been Black people, but we don't learn anything. Back to the story about where we spend our money, with whom do we spend our money. So we are saying, because of our short-sightedness, we are saying, oh, we can't afford to buy from the Black person in our community. It's too expensive, because these individuals are not getting any breaks, so they are not allowed to, hide their figures some other way. But we have to say to ourselves, I'd rather spend an extra penny buying from my own community that is going to eventually build and grow, and we get stronger as a people. That's what the Chinese people do. That's what all Asian people do when they're business. The Chinese, for example, they are able to give you prices where they make small profit, but over a long period of time, their profit is greater. And so we see some Chinese people who have lived for generations in Jamaica benefited from the wealth of the Jamaican people, and all of a sudden they can't live in Jamaica because Jamaicans are too violent. They have to go away to the United States of America after they have gotten rich. But when they were there spending money, well, not spending money because they're not spending money. When they were there, yeah, they invested and they were making a big profit. And although their lives were threatened, they stayed until it was time, or it's time, for them to retire. And the thing about it, as horrible as they claim Jamaica is, when they're ready to sell the business, they're selling it to one of their own family, one of their own friends from China. And now they're complaining that they're the minority, and this is a propaganda. It's propaganda. But we can't blame our Chinese brothers and brethren, or what do you call it? Because they're not our brethren. They don't see us as brethren. They're not our partners. They don't see themselves as partnership with us as Black people. They see us as individuals who provide us with goods, some of which are filthy, some of which are, poor quality and taste. They think we don't deserve anything better because we're poor. And most of the time, people are just desperate. But we have to remove from that desperate state. Stop being so desperate. Stop allowing people to abuse you and say because you're desperate. You're not desperate. You're not desperate when you're spending money. You're not desperate when you're using your money to build another person. So the point of this video is to say that stop making people push you around. Stop making people abuse you. And stop trying to impress people. Stop trying to make people say that you're nice. Nice don't do jack. Nobody will ever get a chance to abuse me. I pick my battles. I choose to ignore sometimes. But when I realize it's becoming a problem, when I realize that a person decides that they're going to be like a little pestilence, a little vampire, a little bloodsucker, and decide that I'm the one, they're going to find out. You picked the wrong tree to climb up on. Duppy know who to frighten. And I am no longer that person. If I cry, you better be worried. I'm not going to let you make me cry. Be blessed, African people. Think on these things.